15 things you should never do in UAE. When visiting any country, it's highly recommended that everyone looks into the rules, regulations and cultural no-nos before buying plane tickets. This is no different in the United Arab Emirates. The country has some legal and cultural rules that may be obvious and others that are not so much. What is important is to be well informed, so follow our guide to the things tourists should never do in the UAE. Number 1. Wearing revealing clothes while visiting the city. The UAE is way more lenient with clothing than most people think, and although dressing rules can vary from emirate to emirate, most allow visitors to dress in westernized clothes. However, it's important to always dress respectfully when visiting the country. This means travelers should be mindful of where they are going before getting dressed. Number 2. Drinking or eating during the holy Ramadan month. If you have been told to avoid visiting Dubai in the holy Ramadan month, it is actually an overreaction from some quarters. You are not prohibited from drinking or eating during Ramadan. Plus, no one expects you to fast for the entire day. Of course, you are free to eat as you please at your hotel. However, drinks will be only served to you after sunset. Just ensure not to drink or eat in public prior to sunset. Number 3. Taking pictures of people. Taking pictures of people without consent is seen as a crime in the UAE under the country's cybercrime laws. This means that taking pictures of strangers, without them openly allowing, can lead to a fine of 500,000 Emirati dirhams, and 6 months in prison. Number 4. Buying fake goods. Those visiting the gold and spice souk in Dubai may notice people asking them if they are interested in a Chanel bag or a Cartier watch. It is important to just ignore and keeping walking straight. As tempting as a cheap designer bag may sound, it's not worth the amount of trouble one can get into if they are caught shopping at illegal outlets. Number 5. Spreading rumors. This is a bit of an unexpected one, but spreading rumors in the UAE is actually illegal, especially when these are shared online. Spreading false gossip on social media is not only a form of cyberbullying, but it can actually land people in jail for up to 3 years, as well as a fine of up to 1 million dirhams. This applies to people who knowingly spread misleading or false information that can be damaging to the public interest. Number 6. Public displays of affection. Although the UAE may be an ideal honeymoon destination, it is crucial that people know that public displays of affection are strictly not permitted. Even kissing could land a couple in jail, so it's best to avoid all PDA. This applies to everywhere in Dubai, even clubs and bars, so it's important not to let the alcohol go to the head. Even hugs between friends from the opposite sex are frowned upon. Number 7. Cursing in public. Dropping the F-bomb alongside other swear words in public is not allowed. Offensive language, profanity and insults are not only frowned upon, but can actually get tourists in a lot more trouble than they would imagine. Flipping out someone can actually get people arrested, so better to keep it cool and try to not be offensive. Number 8. Taking photos of car accidents, government buildings, military installations. When taking pictures in the UAE, it's best to focus the camera on tourist attractions and beautiful sights, as some pictures are actually illegal. This includes photographs of car accidents, government buildings, embassies, military installations and even airplanes. Number 9. Bringing prescription medicines without paperwork. Bringing prescription medicine into the country strictly requires the right paperwork, proving such medicine has been prescribed to its holder. It's important that the prescription is translated to English, in order for airport officials to understand it. Tourists can get in a lot of trouble for bringing certain meds into the country, so it's recommended to check with the UAE embassy in their respective country in order to find out what is allowed and what isn't. Number 10. Doing drugs. This should be an obvious one, but it can't be stressed enough. Do not do drugs in the UAE. The country has a zero-tolerance policy in regards to any type of drugs. People have previously been jailed for failing tests for drugs they consumed outside of the country. It's crucial that tourists do not indulge themselves in any drug use while in the country, as the consequences involve imprisonment and deportation. This also applies to prescription drugs. Number 11, disrespecting religion and culture. Any disrespect towards Emirati culture, Islam and the country's rulers can land tourists in jail. Cultural and religious respect should apply to all others too, seeing that the UAE's population is made up of over 80% expats. It's crucial to respect everyone. Number 12, never use your left hand when greeting people. Avoid getting rude stares from locals and try not to use your left hand in situations when you are being introduced to someone. This also applies when opening doors, or handing someone something. You are only allowed to use your left hand for drinking water. This is a practice many locals look down on because historically, left hands were used to clean up before the renaissance of the toilet paper and flushing water, thus, it is still considered dirty and unkempt. Number 13, do not bring prohibited items. If you are traveling to Dubai, then you need to be extra careful about what you're packing. Before you do that, make sure you read up on the items you are allowed to carry. Some of the prohibited items include books with adult content, anything made in Israel, and refrain from carrying pork into the country. Number 14, don't go during summertime. If you've never experienced intense heat, then going to UAE during the summer is going to give you the shock of your life. Don't go in the summertime when the temperatures can reach astounding heights of over 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Even the beaches can reach well into the 100s, which means that taking a dip may not really be all that refreshing. Number 15, don't point your soles at someone. Because the feet are associated with the ground and the ground is considered very dirty, being the lowest area, you should never point your soles at another person, because of the dirt that covers your shoes, especially if that person is Muslim. They consider this very rude. Make sure that you are aware of where your feet are pointed at all times, and never point them at one of the local Arabs.